It's safe to say that Star Citizen 4.3.2 landed with some issues. From Phase 1 of the Frontier Fighters finale dealing with datapads in the open world that absolutely no one could have predicted, to the topic of today's video, the new loot table, aka the Palatino problem. And although I will focus on distribution centers, it also touches on contested zones and onyx, as they are also good reference points for this new setup. Now, a cynical person might suggest that this is yet another attempt to increase play session time and logins because people are RNG grinding for their new favorite armor, weapon, or just want to collect them. Although I am a cynical person, with my Star Citizen content I try to avoid heavily opinion-based videos. Less salt, more analysis. So here's an objective look at why the new loot system is completely broken, with some observations about the behaviour that might help you in your farming. Just after the patch dropped, players were blaming other players for Palatino armour boxes at distribution centres not spawning. Whereas this is partially the problem, the fault obviously isn't with other players, it's with CIG. And for those that don't understand what the problem actually is, I'll explain along with this overlay of a distribution centre. The way the game's loot table seems to be set up at DCs is each area of the DC is split up to have its own loot container allocation, where boxes are assigned slots where they can spawn. These sections have a maximum number of allowed loot boxes to be spawned at one time. Once a box is opened, 30 minutes later that box will despawn and another will be spawned, but not necessarily in that same location. This is where the first problem comes in though, overspawning. If you've been playing 4.3.2 with interaction mode set to always highlight, you may have noticed some crazy texture fighting in Onyx as you hopelessly hunt for that lab sample that will get you 1 million. I'm currently at 163 boxes opened, and that's not even target farming, that's just as I'm doing contracts. Anyway, you may have also noticed different size boxes spawning in exactly the same position in distribution centers and contested zones. The latter help to identify the new key difference in the loot setup, as certain slots also have a chance to spawn different boxes. In the case of distribution centers and Palatino armor, this makes the possibility of finding an orange box infinitely more difficult when coupled with the overspawning problem. Remember that the maximum number of allowed loot boxes in an area will prevent new ones from spawning? Well, if someone's not noticed a double or even triple spawned loot box slot, when it comes time for a new one to spawn, the count is already +2 what it should be, and therefore it won't allow another box to spawn. In this example from Onyx, the medical station after the gravity lab should have 3 blue boxes. But the overspawning of the medical boxes inside the station itself slot-blocked the others. Now, this could be the entire research wing's total box count, as there's no way of knowing how it's broken up, but almost all of the slots during my first run had double or triple spawns, including some of the orange boxes. But I was systematically going through the entire wing to reset all of the slots I could find, and when going back, there was still a single blue box missing, but there was also still double spawned boxes. In the case of contested zones, we currently have the problem of the new pulverizer and kill shot being in the possible weapons lootable from the open chests. But these slots are also now shared with an unopenable orange armor loot box. So these slots eventually get completely blocked as the server runtime increases. But back to the shared box problem. Palatino specifically has 3 possible boxes that share the same spawn slots. They're all the same model of box, orange one for Palatino only, then there's the white and dirty grey ones that have generic armour and other items in. Using our little example area, once the first orange box gets looted, then comes respawn. That has a chance to spawn one of the 3 boxes in that slot, but it could also now spawn one of the other types of loot box in a slot that's allocated to those boxes, completely eliminating the possibility of the Palatino slot even getting a box. So there's already layered RNG just to get the Palatino armor. And we haven't even covered off the fact that there's 5 pieces of armour and there's rarer variants. So you've got the area total box count, which slot to spawn a box in, one of 3 boxes to spawn in that slot, provided it's landed on the Palatino slot, one of 5 possible armour pieces, and then one of 4 possible variations. Now, I'm all for random location or slot spawning, things like that. It makes a refreshing change from the certain spawns of onyx. However, the main problem here is that when there's a rare spawn configured, on top of the area box count, there doesn't appear to be a failsafe for making sure there's at least 1 orange box present. So out of the entire area of the distribution center outside, and all of the boxes that it could possibly have, there's no check to make sure there's at least 1 orange. So instead of an area check that counts the number of boxes plus an is there a rare box in the area, we get 7 hours running around distribution centers with only 2 orange boxes. Which was probably out of pure luck that no one else had actually seen them, rather than them being a fresh spawn. And we're very nearly at the end of the year of playability. And although they defined their 3 pillars of playability as content, stability, and performance, Hyperion's broken, event contracts face the mire of contracts not completing, objectives not updating, freight elevators not recognizing data pads, and prior to the hotfix, not even being able to pick up the data pads themselves. It's all well and good delivering lots of content, but it needs to work. As much as I like to stick to guide content, highlighting stuff coming in upcoming patches, things like that, this new loot problem can only get worse if it's not addressed. So rather than just go raw patch bad, I wanted to break down how this new loot system appears to behave, but also bring to light the fact that if it's left unattended, it's just broken. Let us know your experience with this patch down below and your hopes for the future. Do you think we're going to get a clean-up patch in December that fixes a lot of the broken things? Or do you think we're going to get a big shiny that distracts everyone and breaks over Christmas while CIG are on holiday? Until the next one, fellow citizens, fly safe and beware the bugs.